This video is going to cover some very heavy topics, so trigger warning if you or if anyone you know is a survivor of abuse. But y'all, why didn't anyone tell me that Casey Jones's origin story is this awesome in IDW? So, if you were unaware, I'm currently reading through IDW's Ninja Turtle run, and I'm currently on Volume 2. And if you know me at all, you know Casey Jones is my favorite Ninja Turtles character. Had I known that he was this well written in IDW the entire time, I would have been on this comic line years ago. Now, I did talk about Casey a little bit in my thoughts on Volume 1 of IDW's run a little while ago, but I was completely unaware of how big of a role he was going to play in bringing the found family of Ninja Turtles together. And it all starts with his relationship with Raphael. In the beginning of the story, Raph is separated from his family for plot reasons, but it gives us an opportunity to explore his relationship with Casey on a deeper emotional level. Raph is dumpster diving outside of Casey's apartment where he hears him being berated by his father. And they don't sugarcoat it. Arnold Jones is getting in Casey Jones's face, he's verbally degrading him, and he's getting physical. Raphael isn't having any of it though. He busts down the door and immediately comes to Casey's rescue. And he immediately proceeds to put Arnold in his place. Now, I kind of brushed this off in my thoughts on Volume 1 video because I didn't realize how big of a plot thread this was going to continue to be. But following this, Raph and Casey immediately hit it off. And they start doing their usual shtick until Raph finally reunites with the rest of the Turtles. But even as we shift back to the main plot, we still occasionally chime in with Casey here and there having to deal with his scumbag dad. And for a while, Casey just kind of deals with this because in the midst of all of this happening, he's training April how to fight, he's still getting to know the other Turtles, and he's still going on night missions with Raphael. Fast forward to Raphael's one-shot comic where he and Casey are out on patrol. Casey Jones is literally longing to know what a healthy family relationship looks like that he just straight up asks Raph what it is like. Now, Raphael does seemingly brush Casey off when he brings this up, but ultimately it's later revealed that Raphael is just hyper-focused on the mission because he already views Casey as his equal and he assumed that they were just on the same page about that. And look at how happy Casey is to just realize that he has a brother in Raphael. I have to stress this, it's a really nice and heartfelt moment. The love that Raphael has for Casey even carries over back into the main plot when they have to go on their first rescue mission to save Splinter. And I once again have to give the team at IDW their flowers for illustrating how well Casey Jones works with the group. They waste no time rescuing Splinter, and it's the little things like Casey Jones being the one to carry Splinter out of the building that end up playing such a bigger role into the story at large that I didn't even realize at first. And then the plot would seem to finally move on from this storyline until we get to Casey's one-shot in Volume 2. And this is where we really see the abuse at the forefront and at its absolute worst. Arnold's past has finally caught up with him, and some mob bosses are trying to shake him down for some money he owes them. He buys some time pawning off a piece of jewelry that belonged to Casey's mother, but it doesn't last long. Then through flashback, we finally see how Casey Jones wound up in this terrible situation. We find out that it was his mother's dying wish for him to empathize with his father. Casey would recruit Raphael to help him find the mobsters and go shake them down to get them off of his father's back. And it really shouldn't go understated for how much honor Casey has for going to this far of a length for such a terrible person. And his father repays him by beating the crap out of him. So badly that he's fading in and out of consciousness, being whiplashed by the pain that both of his parents put him through. He shows up on the Turtles' doorstep, barely able to hold himself up. And because of this, Raphael goes ballistic and goes to confront Arnold and finally put an end to all of this. And Splinter knows what's going to happen if he doesn't intervene, so he chases after Raph. And y'all, Raphael proceeds to beat the brakes off of Arnold for what he did to Casey. Thankfully, Splinter is able to intercept Raphael and stop him from delivering a final blow. He forces Raph to take a moment. He forces Raph to look into this man's eyes and deciding, is crossing that line really going to satisfy him? Raphael comes to his senses and decides not to go through with it. And then Master Splinter, who hasn't forgotten what Casey Jones did for him and for his son, decides that he's going to move in with them. Once they get home, Splinter calls for a family meeting and emphasizes that Casey and April both need to stay for it. And he delivers the good news that Casey Jones is an official new member of the family. And this is my favorite lesson that Master Splinter teaches in every version of Ninja Turtles. Family is community, and it is important to have a diverse support system. That's a message that I feel like has been missing recently a lot in recent Ninja Turtles adaptations. And it seems like for now we're finally laying this plot line to rest. But y'all, I was not prepared for how much upfront character development Casey Jones was going to get at the beginning of this run. But honestly, I couldn't be happier for it. I'm not happy that the boy got abused, but I am happy that we finally solidified how important Casey Jones is to the family. I'm also very glad that the writers were bold enough to tell a story about a male character that was abused by a male family member. It's something that goes very swept under the rug in society, and I haven't seen it handled this well in fiction since Zuko in Avatar: The Last Airbender. My biggest critique is that I wasn't a fan of how some of the dialogue was handled. There's literally one page where April O'Neil is just textbook victim shaming Casey, and I was not a fan of that. It felt really out of character for her. But all in all, I was really happy when Raphael was separated from the situation at hand that we got this scene where the other three turtles really got to show their love for Casey, because throughout this entire storyline, we've gotten to see them develop the same trust in Casey that Raphael has had the entire time. All in all, IDW is cooking in my opinion, and I cannot wait to catch up on the rest of the story. And lastly, if you ever have or are presently experiencing anything akin to what Casey Jones was going through in this story, please do not be afraid to speak up. Somebody is willing to listen and is willing to help you. All it takes is the courage of knowing to ask for what you need. And just remember that you're not alone out there. There's a good chance your family can't wait to meet you. Stay safe out there, and as always, stay lovely. Have a good one.